You might have noticed a lingering sense of dread lately. It hums in the background when you read about breaking ocean temperatures, when you walk outside into a thick haze of summer wildfire smoke, or when you realize the winter freeze never actually arrived. Culturally, we are suffering from a massive, collective phantom limb. For nearly a century, we were promised a future of endless economic expansion and continuous technological progress. The ecological grace period that subsidized that mid-century dream has expired, but our nervous systems are still reaching for a reality that is no longer there. When we try to talk about the deep disorientation that follows, we usually use words like eco-anxiety or climate depression. We treat this unease like a glitch in our individual brain chemistry. And the solutions we're offered reflect that clinical diagnosis. We are prescribed mindfulness apps, therapy, and self-care routines, all seemingly designed to help us return to peak productivity inside the very economic engine that caused the crisis in the first place. But a racing heartbeat and shallow breathing in a burning building aren't signs of an anxiety disorder. They're signs that your nervous system is working exactly as it should. To navigate this disorientation, we need a precise vocabulary. Environmental philosopher Glenn Albrecht gave us the exact word for this condition: solastalgia. This animated diagram highlights the difference. Eco-anxiety points to a timeline of abstract future threats. Solastalgia is the visceral homesickness you experience when your home environment is actively degrading while you still live right in the middle of it. You see this play out in real time in river communities forced to rebuild from thousand-year floods every 5 seasons, or in mountain towns where summer is now simply called smoke season. You haven't moved, but your home has left you. This recent medical journal layout from a 2025 BMJ Mental Health Scoping Review proves this is a measurable physical reality. The empirical data confirms that localized environmental degradation is a direct primary pathway to clinical distress. Feeling this specific geographic pain means your internal sensors are alive. It is a critical diagnostic tool alerting you that your local ecosystem is struggling. It is a sane response to reality, not a weakness to be medicated away. Because the sheer math of ecological overshoot is so heavy, our minds reflexively search for an exit door. We usually fall into one of 2 psychological traps to avoid looking directly at the problem. The first trap is techno-optimism, or hopium. This is the seductive illusion that a new algorithm, fusion power, or carbon capture machine will magically fix the biosphere. It whispers that we don't have to change our voracious consumption habits because the engineers will save us. When the math on that illusion breaks, the pendulum swings hard into the second trap, fatalism. There is a dark comfort in doom scrolling and deciding the game is over. If the world is ending, there is no point in trying. Both of these traps function the exact same way. They are forms of psychological escape that absolve us from doing the hard, messy, real-world work of local adaptation. To step out of those traps, we have to engage in grief work. Think of grief as the necessary blow-off valve for the human heart. If the pressure gets too high and the valve is plugged with stay positive narratives, the whole internal system eventually risks advanced metal fatigue. We have to accept that the industrial Titanic is sinking. Mourning the unsinkable myth of our global machine is the only way to release that internal pressure and move from frozen paralysis to focused action. But if you allow yourself to pass through that grief, you reach a specific, quiet peace on the other side. Researchers call this state collapse acceptance, or tragic realism. Accepting reality lifts a massive weight off your shoulders. You are freed from the mathematically impossible burden of having to single-handedly fix global atmospheric carbon or somehow untangle the international macroeconomy. This animated spiral illustrates active hope. It is a rigorous daily practice. You ground yourself in gratitude, honor your pain, shift your perspective, and go forth to do the work. You trade the sinking Titanic for a maneuverable schooner. You stop writing angry letters to a broken global system, and you shrink your focus down to what you can actually touch. You build a community compost bin, check on an elderly neighbor, or plant a resilient food forest. That grief is a direct measure of your love for the world. When you stop trying to bail water from a sinking ocean liner and move your hands to the wheel of a local schooner, you become an active, grounded participant in a beautiful, necessary descent. We have built our world on a high-stakes assumption that our industrial momentum is as unsinkable as the steel hulls we once set into the Atlantic. But the elephant in the room has grown too large to ignore, moving out of our private shadows and into the center of our lives. This is the meta-crisis, the tipping point where the stories of endless growth collide with the physical limits of our planet. The Lifeboat mini-course is your immediate, structured transition, a free 5-day journey delivered to your inbox to transform global anxiety into local resilience. Day 1 begins with an audit of the invisible, the energy and water systems you rely on every hour, yet rarely ever see. Day 2 forces a change in your geographical lens, challenging you to locate your true home within your watershed and local bioregion. You won't navigate this terrain alone. You will receive daily study guides and synthesized patterns designed to cut through the noise and reveal the architecture of change. Day 3 asks you to practice active hope in a world facing ecological overshoot. Day 4 introduces the demanding standard of revolutionary love. By tracing the water back to your neighbor's tap, you move beyond the narrow walls of self-help and into the expansive, interconnected practice of systems health. The climax arrives on Day 5 with the introduction of a specific framework for your future, the 9x21 harvest. Who is your mutual guiding spirit in this transition, and which 9 things will you choose to do? Stop waiting for the headlines to crush you. Sign up for the Lifeboat mini-course now. Access your Day 1 materials immediately and join the community hub where the next story of our world is already being written. You can remain tied to the illusion of a collapsing global credit card, or take this course to begin building real systems health today. The Earth is tired of the lie. It is time to dance with the truth.